Hey everybody, welcome back to Gardens the Untold Story. I'm your host Ken Somerville, my co-host Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener, and we're still talking on Andy's book. Don't panic, it's organic. We're up to chapter I think 19 now, and we're supposed to be talking about underground pest control, and that's a big thing here because I got gophers all over the place in the summer, and the farmers have to worry about cattle walking the field because there's holes everywhere. But you're in California, Andy. I don't know. You don't have any cattle walking around, so I don't know. Is that a big thing in your area?
It's not so much cattle. I mean, over here it's really like horses.
Okay.
People go to parks, ride their horses. They break their legs because if they go into gopher holes, or kids running, or even bicycles, those things like that. The wildlife like the coyotes and mountain lions and those things, they could care less. Actually, they sit there and wait for their gophers to stick his head out. And
Well, yeah, that's
you know,
lunch, man. It's a snack time for them.
I had a kitty cat when I lived up Deer Creek. I had two two males, and the males were like lazy, But I had this one cat was a female. She was a hunter, and she would sit there like meditating, and the gopher would stick his head. Whoop!
Yep.
Holy cow! So Mother Nature has a ways to deal with all these things, and it's one of the things that I've learned from experience that's actually a big problem because us humans tend to destroy the ecosystem that's supposed to be in place to keep everything in balance. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Half the city in Malibu hates coyotes.
Yeah.
Half of them, or mountain lion, or any predator, owls, hawks. They just like kill, 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 kill. The other half is going, wait a minute, they're necessary for the ecology, environment. You can't be complaining about gophers if you kill their predators. Every creature that normally comes after gophers, it's gone. You don't have a coyote that can come in your backyard and hunt down your gophers, or there are other creatures. You'd be surprised how many creatures go after. That the gophers are part of the food chain, right? You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, I talk about the predator prey model, and unless you want things to be totally out of balance, you have to have all the different creatures out there in your garden to have it in balance, to have healthy plants and a healthy ecosystem. So, yeah, we have the same thing up here. Like our cities, they don't want the mice running around, the coyotes running around, the skunks, but without them, you can never have that healthy balance in a natural ecosystem. But then, if you're calling a concrete jungle a healthy ecosystem, I don't know if you got the right point.
Yeah. The thing that it's interesting when you're in a city environment is that you don't really have they don't they're learning about having an environmental ecosystem, but they really don't have it. It's not a very friendly wildlife environment for predators to come through and get the gophers, because they're going to have to learn to dig a hole like the gophers do to be unseen by by society, so to speak. They stick their head in a corner, So a lot of these places that have gopher problems here are just like a coyote or a mountain lion, or probably. See, I live here. I have a family of hawks,
Right.
and a family of owls. And I run into a guy recently. He's really cool. It's an old surfer, and he says because he likes me. We're talking about predators, and he made this predator stand.
Right.
Predator stand. Do you know what that is?
A pole that stick across the top for the hawks and eagles and stuff to land on.
That is exactly right. Right. So all I did was it's a T, right? Like that. The T stuck in the ground. But it's high enough. I'm 6 foot, so it's about 8 foot. And I'll go sit there and stand there. Push, scoop down, take any gophers that came up, stick their head up, push. Or so I think they take turns I have to build one, but they basically have all these trees around me, so that's their stand, right? The other
Yeah.
day, I'm in the garden, my cat's there, and I'm looking at this hawk in the branch. The hawk is still; his eyes were closed, And I
Yeah.
said, "Excuse me, because your eyes are closed doesn't mean I can't see you." He's looking at me like, "Okay, the gig is up." And I told my cat, "You do know you're being watched by this hawk, owl, do you?" And he said, "I don't see any owl anywhere. Where's the owl?" And the owl just then went woo like that, just to say, "Ha ha ha, big wings."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have. That's one of the advantages about Malibu because it is a little bit water. Than forget about having owls and hawks in your neighborhood in L.A., right? Or any of
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
places, So we're a little bit more country than here. We have more trees and we have a bigger environment, but lately with all the fires and everything that's happened here, that environment is slowly disappearing too. When you have a whole forest burned down, when you have the whole ecosystem burned down, the animals have no real place to go. They can't go into the city and rent a hotel, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they have to find some. So I have a batch of parrots that live in Malibu. When we had the fire, they just went somewhere else, and then they came back again. So I always wonder, where did you guys go to anyway? So I think here what it is that because it's so big, they probably went to some other wild part of Malibu. Lots of mountains here, mountain ranges that
Yeah.
are untouched. So that's what they did. They went and hit up there in the mountains under big giant trees that weren't getting burned. But they do come back here because this is where they were born. For some reason, they like it here, and I'm not exactly sure why. Because I kept saying, "What are you doing here?" I think they're what do you call it? Civilized. They like things that humans give them
Yeah.
rather than stuff they get in the wild. We don't like eating mouse, but we will eat sunflower seeds. We will, what I mean? It's like anyway, so that is a big part of controlling gophers. Was whenever you have any particular infestation of any creature, you know that your ecosystem is out of balance. You know
Yeah.
there's something wrong. When you have so many gophers that you can't do. Like for me here in my property, I have one gopher. There's a family of gophers because there's a whole forest. That whole forest is full of gophers, and these guys do not have oh, don't cross that line there because that part belongs to Andy, right? No, it's
Yeah.
like I was here first. What's the problem, dude? Thank you for the carrots. Thank you for this onion. Oh, this is great. I said, well, can you share it? Can I? I don't mind sharing with you. I leave because I understand because they were here first. Hey, who is this?
Goat head gardener.
Goat head gardener. Oh, cool. So we always want. I always want to start there, acknowledging that if you have a gopher problem, you really have it's a different problem. The gopher is just saying, "What's your problem, man?" You know what I mean? Because the gopher has
I'm here for lunch, man.
Yeah, perfect right to be there. And so it's a matter of understanding that what we have to do is we have to seek balance. We have to, I tell people we're nature now. We're taking over the role of nature, and we have to sort of figure out a way to allow all these creatures to come through and live here, like a Garden of Eden kind of thing, where everybody's happy, rather than impose our rules on them. It's bad enough now that we have all these toxins that not only us humans have to deal with, but because we're such a bad caretaker, the ocean has to deal with it. The air we breathe has to deal with it. Trees, all the kind. So the wildlife has to deal with all these toxins, and the water is poisoned, right? The water is no good. If I was reading somewhere where the wildlife was getting sick because they were drinking city water.
Now, why does that not surprise us, Andy? Why does it not, man?
Yeah. So it's like I was thinking of because there are places like they have little lakes that they basically hold the water, or they have all kinds of people in their backyards who were giving them water because everybody's real hot. We're going to let the birds come and drink the water, right? We're giving some from our hoses, right?
Yeah.
And that is so the animals are just literally dropping from the sky. I don't know. I have no idea what's wrong with this hawk, or I don't know what's wrong with this. They found a dead cougar the other day. and it has to do with the poor animal can't even eat their normal food without getting poisoned.
Yeah, pretty much. But
You know,
let's we're supposed to
there's
be
a
talking
question.
about underground pest
Yeah,
control. So
gophers.
yeah, well,
The other
there's a
thing.
lot of other pests that are
Yeah.
underground, above ground. But let's talk about, say, gophers and rabbits. Um, if you're having a garden, what are some of the things that you've done, Andy, to help stop them?
Well, when I started doing this in my house in Miami, Florida, there was always some creature coming around, and I said to myself, there's a reason why, like in this garden here, they're not. There's certain things they're not even touching. They go through there and they go, I'll take that, I'll take that, and so to me, it's because they have a very high sense of smell. A lot of the
Yeah,
underground creatures, like the gophers, are not. Their vision is not the best. It's their smell, so they can
yeah,
smell things. And so, one of the things I learned to do is to key into what causes them to. Oh yeah, right. So I was using essential oils at one time, but that's way too strong. You have essential oil, lavender or whatever. You can really hurt yourself and hurt the animal because you don't want to hurt the animal. So what I'm doing in my garden, I have 30 different kinds of herbs. They don't
right.
they don't touch any of them. They don't touch the peppermint or the spearmint. They leave the lemongrass alone. You name the plant, they leave them alone. As soon as I plant lettuce, they're gone, or carrots, or anything that I can eat, that's gone.
Yeah,
Potatoes they ate, but everything else is still there. So what I'm doing is to uh, is to tell them in my way, because the way animals and creatures in nature, they mark their territory, right? So with the
right.
smell, so I figure, okay, smell. So that's what I do now. So I have, for example, the other day I made a really cool batch of lemongrass,
Hmm.
lavender. I was going with the L's.
Okay.
Lemongrass, lemongrass, lavender. There was a couple other type of. Oh yeah, I was, of course, I had garlic cloves in there. I had about 12 different garlic cloves. I'm starting to grow the garlic, which is interesting too, because I planted some clove the other day. The squirrel came, pulled them out. Oh, I can't eat that. I said, well, at least put it back in again. It's lying there. I'm not eating that. But when they grow, so garlic happens to be one of my favorite tools to protect plants from getting eaten. So, for example, when I grow tomatoes, animals will come and chew on the tomatoes. There will be rabbits. Gophers can go after the root systems of the tomatoes. So, one of the best things to do to protect your plants from getting eaten is to infuse them with garlic. And you can easily infuse them either by planting some garlic. So garlic makes a great companion plant to plant with tomatoes, almost any plant, whether it be lettuce. Anything that they want to eat, like when I'm doing corn, I plant corn and garlic at the bottom. Seriously, and that really really works in terms of. You have to really like garlic, and woodchucks are a problem in my garden. I
Well,
love my
CT
plants.
Grow says rabbits and woodchucks are a problem in my garden. I cover my plants with bug netting. It helps to deter them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Phenomenon.
yeah,
It's like that's 20 years ago, but he put up this steel mesh fence all the way around his garden, and he was still having something getting in there and eating his garden, his lettuce. And then he finally figured out that he had locked the rabbit that was eating everything in his garden. So once he opened the gate and the rabbit went out, he could close the gate and everything was good. So that's something else. But I wanted to talk about that for
sure.
people called hardware cloth,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
small
It's always
uh
a physical barrier you can do, right? It
yeah.
just has to do with money or creativity. Because
Yeah, would
every
you
time,
go down? Would you dig like
yeah,
a foot
yeah,
down or 2
yeah,
feet
yeah,
down and put it underground to stop the
yeah,
gophers? Like, I don't
yeah.
know how far down gophers go.
That's the first thing I did here, right? I went down,
Okay.
I went down 3 feet. I
Okay.
bought, I bought. They have these gopher wires that are basically real thick wires, but they're thin. Not if they're too open, the babies go in and they get stuck. Get me out, Daddy! I can't get out. So you have to get with a basically half-inch size, gopher
Yeah.
wire. And what I did was I doubled it. It was 3 feet. So
Yeah.
I don't really understand, but I think either they found a passage or they're going deeper than 3 feet. Maybe they have evolved now to go deeper. So one of the projects I'm going to do is I'm going to dig it. I made a trench and put the gopher wire down 3 feet. So I'm going to dig the trench and see, because I bet you I left an avenue somehow, but to make sure, because they were finding an opening. They'll go through the opening if I missed an area. But
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they're going down deeper than 3 feet. 3 feet is like that. See,
Well,
not
yeah,
even
3 feet's pretty deep.
not even so. I have a feeling they're going down. They have evolved. Because in my youth, I don't remember them ever going down deeper than 3 feet. But oh no, these guys are still coming in. And I already found one because I went on the outside. It's on a slope. You can see the hole, and the hole is definitely like 6 foot down. If they're so, it's very possible maybe going deeper. It really depends on the soil. So I'm going to go and put a physical barrier, take it out, put the gopher netting down as tall as I am tall. If they go through that, then there's no way. Then they must be going over it. But have you ever? I've never ever seen a gopher get up and run over and get back in the tunnel again. I've never ever seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know that they can climb that well, but like the thing is, you also have like squirrels and chipmunks and stuff like that.
right.
So is it the actual gophers or that is causing the problem, or is it the other creatures that are
The way
causing
I
the
can tell what's going on is really simple. It's both, all of them. The gophers are having a great time, and so are the squirrels. I don't have any. I haven't seen any rabbit come by here yet, but I hear there's lots of rabbits all over the place as well. So,
Yeah.
but I definitely have proof. And here's an example. So I bought some tomatoes the other day, the plants, and I'm sitting there in the garden, meditating, hanging out. The plant starts to shake. And next thing you know, it's going down. It's going. I go, okay. That was a
That
gopher.
sounds like the movie Caddyshack, the
Yeah.
gopher that's pulling the stuff down,
That was a gopher. And I said, thank you very much. And I was in town. I'm going, gee whiz, that was a gopher. And I've never really seen it. I've done this a long time. Never ever seen a gopher pull on a tomato plant, because the tomatoes are nightshade family. It's not exactly, good. What is it?
A staple
safe.
food for a gopher. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you have moles or something like that instead
Lucky
of
I don't have the moles, but the philosophy would be the same. First,
Yeah.
you have to understand that the way it's happening for me, usually in my garden, when I have a garden going, I don't have that problem because I have so many things growing, all kinds of stuff everywhere going on everywhere. The roots of the different kinds of herbs are also protect. So so when you grow lavender, you look at the roots. If they nibble on the roots, they're going to get the same toxic shot as if they ate the top part, right? That's one of the advantages of carapia. Carapia is a native grass, it goes down 10 feet. Every year as it gets older, it becomes more and more toxic to the gophers. And the reason for that is they have to dig to it. It has a white milk. So as it gets, if it gets older, it gets stronger, and they have to basically dig through the roots to get around. They can't chew that stuff.
Okay.
So I have carapia growing everywhere and starting to grow more and more. So that's long term, because this stuff is taking over a certain area. I have my beds all growing. They're growing. I have one bed completely covered in carapia and oregano. The two of them are fighting it out. You see this battle of the carapia and the oregano. Both are fast growing, and they're intertwining each other. You have to go, wow, that is something else. So I'm going to put one of my olas on there so they get some water, and then I have these two tomato plants that are growing in this mixture. They seem to be okay so far, but what happens is that the carapia has to get older. So the older it gets, the stronger it gets. Same thing with herbs. So if you have perennial herbs that get older and older, they can't dig through those roots.
Yeah.
They cannot dig through those roots. Right. And same thing with garlic. If you have giant garlic, or you have I like doing a society garlic. Society garlic, it's like garlic, and they get to be really big over the years. And then put massive roots down, put them at the corners of your properties, right? What you do is you basically do a living barrier of things that they cannot go through, dig through, right? See what I mean? So there's a product called Gopher Purge. So Gopher Purge comes up like that, got those things, but it has this white milk. The gophers eat it, they die. The problem is that white milk also is Gopher Purge is also very fire. Poof, it goes up in the fire. What is it? Rib Dr. Elaine Ingram.
Rest in peace,
What
Dr.
happened?
Elaine Ingham. She passed. I believe it's 2 weeks ago now.
Oh
Dr. Elaine
no.
Ingham passed. Yeah,
Oh no. I was hoping to meet her someday. I never really met her. Gee
yeah.
whiz.
It's very unfortunate. She did a lot for the biology and understanding
Yeah.
biology and what makes plants grow, and it's a sorrowful loss. And we all have to just keep sharing the basic information that she was teaching, that it literally is, guys, it's all about the biology, whether it's in the soil, in our plants, in our own bodies. It's all about biology. We have to, have the strength to keep talking about it and keep pushing for this
Yeah.
knowledge to get out there, and
Yeah.
it affects everything.
People are dropping like flies. That's what happens when you get to be old. I have so many friends that are going, and people that are very important in my life. People are important for the earth, and when they
Yeah.
go, hopefully their knowledge sticks around and expands. That's what I hope happens with me. I want to find people that like what I'm doing and take it and run with it and expand it and go with it rather than start over again or forget it, So
Well,
that's
I'll
all.
tell you something, Andy. I know when I started this journey, like about 6 years ago now, everybody, when they're talking about anything about biology, it was microbiology or microbes. And in
That
the
was me.
last year or two, everybody's been going biology, biology, biology instead of, microbiology or any other term. They're just lumping it all together because literally that is how it needs to be looked at, because it's all the same damn thing. All
Yeah.
biology is
The
just
whole earth.
biology.
The earth is one big biology. That's what it is. The
Yeah.
earth is biology. You can't go anywhere on the planet unless you wear a spacesuit. But anywhere you go, the Mount Everest, the deepest ocean, all biology. It's just different form. Everything
Yeah.
is biology, 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 biology. Right? What is it? Yeah, she said groundbreaking microbiology and a leader in the regenerative agriculture. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm glad. Thank you for bringing it up because it's too bad, and all you can do is say, well, for the grace of God go I,
Well, we were lucky enough to have her on this channel here back probably 6-8 months ago, maybe longer, because she's a good friend, or was good friends with Leighton Morrison,
Yeah.
um, and we were fortunate enough to have her on and be able to talk to her. I think once or twice on our channel, but it's one of those things, like, she touched so many people's lives. And guys, if you want to know who Elaine Ingham is, just type it into the YouTube, search bar. There's hundreds and hundreds of videos, that woman had put out, and you can learn so much. And it's a foundational mindset. And that's what, Andy, I love about you, man, because you've been doing this so long. You've set up a foundational mindset on what you've been doing. But you look at that image behind you, the roots and the biology that's running around there, and the plants. It all works together, and that's what Elaine was trying to bring to the world. And it really, she went through a lot to do what she did. And yeah, she's the one that really brought out the soil food web.
I thought that was really cool too. I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool. What we have to do is we all have to step up now. We have to
Yes.
step up. We have to get better at what we do. We have to get our message across. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I've only just begun. I've just only started. I'm going to start doing more and more online workshops. I'm trying to. I have to educate. Educate is the key, and I'm trying to key into kids. So I actually got a little gig going on in the elementary school. Hey kids, come here, come here, come here. I want to tell you something. See, so when I used to give a talk a long time ago, I would go like this. Hello, boys and girls. And they would say, "You're Mickey Mouse." No, I'm not. But anyway, I learned how to get their attention. The kids are so smart. I would buy tofu worms. And I would say, I have to get my lunch. I would go out and make like I'm digging in the ground and pull the thing out with a bread sandwich, bring it, start talking, and they would go, I think we should go home now. And I'm trying to get across. I gave a course not too long ago to a school, a private school, help put in some raised beds. These kids they didn't even know you grow stuff. They had no idea that carrots and lettuce, everything we eat comes from the ground. And so when we did this, when we did the raised beds for them, I would have to come up with something because there's no patience. Love your hat. Well, thank you, ma'am. I have about 20 or 30 different kinds of hats. I should do more, you know. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the foundation of life on our planet, or humanity on our planet, is the children. And the more that we get the children involved at that young layer or level, in that education into those young brains to soak it up and realize and understand what's going on. Like, you know, you take these kids out of the city and they go out to a farm and they go, you know, what's this? Why don't you just go to the grocery store?
What is going on here? You know, I was saying, so I had to learn something that I can get the kids to grow within their patience, because if you start things, so radishes come up in about 3 or 4 days. Okay. So you have radishes. So I would bring radish seeds. I said, we're going to plant some radishes, right? I'll be back in a week, right? Because I did a class once a week. They all planted with their name, and they put a couple of seeds down with their name. So I came back and I said, okay, so what is going on now? Said, we don't know. It was starting to come up, so we pulled it out and looked at it, and we got tired of waiting for it. And here they are. And I said, well, you just killed them all. Oh my God, we killed them. And he says, I don't understand what was happening. They had no idea. And of course, the teachers are supposed to say, leave it in there, let it grow, don't pull it out.
But does the teacher even know? Okay, because some of them are just as lost.
They can't be that out of it. I mean, I can understand kids, but you're saying there are adults out there that have no idea that it comes from the soil. No. They can't be that far out, because I do know that people just go to the store and buy stuff. You know what I mean? And remember Victory Gardens? That's such a cool idea. Everybody just grow your own food. That's still a main theme that I feel our survival depends upon. You go out. I go outside and I can eat oregano. I mean, I actually chew on too much oregano. It's a little bit, but it was really cool. I was seeing stars and talking to angels. Oh my God, oregano is like.
Okay, no, that was LSD, Andy. That wasn't oregano. Okay,
was it?
Penny says you should be coming to the homesteading conversations, the conferences.
I look, Penny. I used to travel a lot, give talks a lot. I would travel, get on the plane and go to all these different conventions, meetings,
conferences.
I'd be one of the speakers. You know, I could speak in a wide variety of areas. So I would go to, like, for example, they have here in LA Eco Fair about healing, and so. How can you not, and nobody's talking about healing the soil or healing the earth. They're all talking about healing us, right? Healing our body.
And it starts in the earth and with the biology.
And so it's like, you have to connect. So I used to give a talk to the Cancer Prevention Society, right? You're going to love this. So you go there and all these doctors will talk about, we study this and we study that. This is the latest drug and the latest thing you have to do. And so they had a luncheon, right, with all the food. So I'm looking at this food and I'm going, anybody know if any of this is organic? the servant, is this organic? No, it isn't. And I said, okay. So I interrupted everybody who's eating. I said, this is going to cost you cancer. This food you got on your table is going to cost you cancer. And we're all here talking about the latest cancer prevention while we eat stuff that's totally chemicalized. The spray. I used to carry with me a pesticide detection. You can put it on the food. Look at that. Right there on your lettuce. I mean, that's why I don't go to restaurants. I asked, is this organic? And I've been reading about reports about lettuces and vegetables that are not grown organically, full of pesticides, toxic.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important you grow your own stuff. You learn how to cook from what you grow. But let's get back to so what I do is I've learned to use the biology against them. It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't kill them. Right? It's just so I made a mixture of lemongrass because I cut some lemongrass. Also, you can make a tea. Lemongrass tea is cool, but lemongrass has got that amazing smell, right? Right?
Yeah.
Hello. Right. This amazing smell. So I took some rosemary, clipped a little bit of rosemary, and I got some cloves of garlic. I had to buy cloves of garlic because, like I said, these squirrels are pulling up every clove I put in the ground. They go, "Oh, garlic," and throw it away. I go, "What?"
Now, Andy, you're gathering all these different herbs to make this concoction, but how are you doing this? Like, are you just grabbing like a mason jar with water and stuffing it all in? Are you boiling it? Are you letting it soak?
Yeah. So
give us a little more, brother.
So when I was in high school, I used to make these mixtures, so it was real easy to do. So I had a big pot, and you fill it up with distilled water. You don't want the city water, right? Fill it up, and you basically put enough stuff in there. And then you take some cuttings of whatever it is you got growing. So I happen to have lots of stuff, and I can blend them all together, or I can just concentrate on lemongrass. I basically will cut it, bring the water to boil, put the herbs in there, and then turn it off and let it simmer. Let it sit there. You don't want to boil. You just bring the water to boil, turn it off, put some cuttings of lemongrass, rosemary, whatever it is you got growing. I have citronella plants. Citronella, for crying out loud. You know what citronella is? They make a pesticide out of it to control fleas and all kinds of insects from citronella. So every herb, let's see, there's spearmint, you have peppermint, even parsley. All of them have an amazing ability. Once you make a tea out of it, and then you let it cool down, you run it through a strainer. You have a little round thing, you strain it through, put it in your spray, and spray the plants with it. And so I would spray the plants with it, and I would pour it. So it has a strong smell. I would pour it into the gopher tunnels. Hey, hello in there. Here's something for you. And they do not like it. They do not like that at all. I
actually really like that idea of putting it right in their tunnels.
Yeah.
Really, and if you had a little mini fan, you could blow it down through the tunnels. You could trace where their tunnels are, man. Find the other spots because you could smell where their tunnels are.
Yeah. So as a kid, I would do the weirdest things. I would have a big speakers.
Yeah.
Run a wire up in the house, put the speaker on the ground, and I would play, all kinds. Boom, boom, boom.
I heard Celine Dion is one of the best things you can play because everybody just runs away.
But that's on the same principle because the frequency, the sound will deter them, but they'll be back. Because if you're using something that scares them away, they will be back because this is food, this is water, this is where I'm going to go to. In the long run, you'll get tired of this cycle. Scare them away, they come back. So I do that right now because I would like to have some vegetables that I can eat. Some things that I can eat. These people like radishes. Anything that I can eat, they will go through. And it's not. I haven't seen any rabbits, but I'm expecting rabbits to show up any day now. They have rats here. There's of course the gophers and the squirrels do their thing, and there are lots of other creatures. Depending on where in the world you live, moles are a problem. There's all kinds of beetles, all kinds of things that live in the soil. Soil is amazing. It houses everything, and they all go after one way or another what you eat, what you grow. So you have to develop a philosophy of, okay, I'm not going to keep you all out. I'm going to grow enough to where even if you do it, I can still get enough, and I can protect myself without hurting you. That's where if you spray lemongrass everywhere, you'll smell it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so will the coyotes will go, I don't like lemongrass. I'm just gonna go over there. The mountain lion, it works. Yeah, it works. When I used to go camping, we used to be. I think it was mountain lions. When I lived there was mountain lions, but there were. I've heard about people calling me up about bears and cougars and all of these. Their sense of smell will smell the lemongrass and go, what? Garlic is it's the easy one you can to do because I used to buy this product called garlic berry. It's 1,000 garlic bulbs in 1 gallon, right? Because it's a concentrate,
Yeah.
and it's easy to make your own concentrate. But garlic is also systemic. That means you can plant it, and the plant that's planted next to it will absorb the garlic and smell like garlic. I did that for roses. That's how I kept animals from eating the deers eating the roses. One problem with that, people would say, this rose smells like garlic. You want to smell the rose, right? You go, oh, that's garlic, right there. That's a problem.
Well, we got a couple of questions, Andy.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to go into them now.
I like questions. Just tell me. I'm 47 years old. Okay. Hi, Uncle. Who's calling me?
I want to know how to deal with nematodes.
Oh, that's super easy. Is it Sam?
Yes,
super
it's Sam.
easy. And that's again, it comes down to biology. There are beneficial nematodes which will go after bad nematodes. I'm assuming you're talking about bad nematodes because there are also good nematodes.
Well, there's only one bad nematode that I know of, and that's the root feeder. And under a microscope, they actually have, you can tell the difference because of how the mouse structure is. But yeah, nematodes, there's only the one that's bad. And Andy, how do you get rid of that?
You can actually, you don't have to go out and buy nematodes to attack the nematodes. What you get rid of, the way you get rid of, you increase your soil biology. You have to understand that anything with, like a nematode, basically the soil biology is not there to control it. The soil biology really does control. It keeps it getting from an infestation of ants, from infestation. When you have grubs in your soil, you don't have enough soil biology to deal with it. So that means the grubs take over, diseases and pests. So all it has to do, if you have nematodes, that just mean you need to increase. I bet you're not adding. Who asked that question?
It was Sam.
Sam, are you adding any soil biology to your soil now? What is it that you're doing? Samuel. Come on, Samuel. You're there.
Well, and nematodes, and this is something I found out when I was got into beekeeping, because one of the predators in beekeeping, they actually their larvae fall into the soil in their pupa state, and they live in the soil to grow up to come back into the hive. They're called a hive beetle. And if you have healthy nematodes in the soil underneath where your beehive is, the nematodes actually eat that larvae, and then you actually stop the cycle of their life, and you no longer have hive beetles. But yeah,
Right.
there's if you're adding biology and you have a healthy ecosystem in your soil, then those root feeding nematodes, they get driven out because there's a lot of other prey species in that soil that'll eat them, and specifically them, and leave the other nematodes alone. So it's all about that biology. It's all about having that ecosystem, whether it's underground or above ground. It's just like our gut biology. If our gut biology is bad, we don't digest food properly. You have to have the biology. You have to have that going.
Oh, I got the wrong one. Let's see, where is it? It was Serena that said she has a cat's. It was moved on me. She says that her secret to underground pest control is cats, and that's one way to do it. You have an animal that goes after him. My cat used to go after him all the time. He'd sit there and grab a gopher or bring rabbits home with me. You want to pay? You want a leg? I go, no, thank you. You know, so but so they and some of the questions, like squash bog, can nematode control squash bog? That's this one there, right?
Yeah.
And it's nematodes. It's just one of the. But basically, what you're saying, can the sergeant control this? When in reality, you have the whole army full of different things that can control it. And that's the key. So you want to have an army of biology that will pick out the best thing that control this problem.
Yeah.
You don't want to. So if you think you can buy nematode, I always thought about that too, because you can buy these different types of predators. You let them loose. That's different. Yeah. When you let a predator out that will go out and get stuff. Nematodes is a predator, but it's in the ground. But why don't you let the whole biology system go after them? Because they're all predators. All of the biology there will do it. Just a matter of fact, if you make really good compost tea and you increase the bubble, and you have all the trace systems in there, you have all the microbiology in there, you can spray that. You can soak the ground with that. That will control it. As a matter of fact, one of the ways that the biodynamic system basically tells you is that, okay, so you have bad nematode. You want to get some manure, make a tea out of it, and put it in the ground.
Yeah.
The biology in the manure will get rid of any of the bad nematode. But in truth, what you really want is to make the soil so healthy, so rich with all kinds of biology that the nematode cannot survive, cannot handle being. They will go someplace where it's easier to survive. That's what you got to do. Learn to make the best compost. And the person who asked that question didn't answer me as to whether you have to be adding biology to the soil all the time. City water kills it. We know that. And we talk about that a lot. So that means that you have something that, hey, Jacob. Jacob is my new assistant.
Oh, cool.
Well,
Andy, let's go to this next question. Andy, will birds eat the Asian jumping worms and army worms? What other ways can we keep them from destroying our soil?
There are birds that will do that. Not all birds. So the birds are specific. You'll find that some birds will go after them as opposed to others. So you always want to have a good aviary around, good bird population around you, because chickens will tend to do that as well. But again, what you need to do is you need to see I'll give you an example. So when I do a spraying, it's a super biology mix. It has so many different things in there. I can encounter different problems in different houses. So I can go to your house and spray the very same mixture for nematodes. I can go to the next person's house and spray the very same mixture for the different types of beetles that they're having, or whatever, or diseases. The very same mixture can control and deal with all these different type of pests and diseases without even changing the formula.
Well, because it's all biology and it's all about making your soil actually healthy. Because once you have that ecosystem in the soil, and Serena, you've been watching us and following us for years now. I think most of your soil is probably very, very healthy, and you're not going to have a lot of these problems. But for other people, if you have compacted soil, if you don't have enough organic material in your soil, if you're not using mulch layers to keep that soil moist, and then you're going to have these continual problems where once you have all this in place and you keep a healthy soil and a healthy ecosystem in your soil, 99% of these problems that we're talking about, they disappear.
99.9.
Yeah, you have the predator prey cycle going in the soil. You have a healthy ecosystem on top of the soil.
Same thing with our bodies, right?
Exactly.
Same thing with our bodies. You can't concentrate on one vitamin to supply what you need for your whole body. You have to have, and as a matter of fact,
biodiversity.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's better not to buy vitamins, it's better to eat vitamins.
Yeah, get them from your plants. Yeah.
Now,
Serena wanted to talk about this story. One time we had a vole. We found the hole and put a water hose in one end and a box at the other end and trapped it, then took it out to the lake and released it. So that's another option, guys, that you can do is trap these things that are bothering your garden, move them to another area. Most people aren't going to want you to do that because they have their garden somewhere else. Okay, yeah, like Andy. But these are options that people do use. Okay, live trapping.
Here's my thought on it. Okay, so they're very territorial. You take them out, put them in another territory. What are you doing? You're starting a war with a. You just attack, and they won't survive. They will attack by the locals that are there and kill it. And so that's not very nice. The best thing to do, let the little guy in your territory, but you have to tell him or her or it. This is my area here. This is my area. You stay over here. You do whatever you want to over there. But and the way you tell them that is that they have to go through this jungle of biology to get at what they want, what you want. The other places are real easy. They just, oh, there's food here. Oh, this is going on. Oh, look at it. I can eat that. I can eat this. Whereas in my place, I have to go, let's see. Oh, God, I got to go through this again.
Right? You have to start at your fence line and your outer fence line.
That's
Andy,
right. That's
and
right.
get the life and the stuff that they naturally eat out there abundant enough where they don't need to come into your garden.
Right. So it left my brain already. But citronella. So citronella, I have it growing, and lavender are like my fence creatures, and garlic. They're on the outer. They're the first encounter. They're the first thing that they run into. If they're above ground, the gophers will have to go underneath it. They probably go right past the root system because they're not deep enough, But I'm already planting garlic all over the place. The idea is to plant garlic, but not the kind of variety that's having a hard time. So I get a heirloom varieties of garlic, black garlic, a giant garlic, for example, are massive. They get to be massive roots. Society garlic, same thing, except it gets to be a giant tree, massive root systems. I told a joke once about a gopher that dug his way through the garlic to get something, and he came, honey, I'm home. The wife says, go away. You smell like garlic, because he had a garlic breath. So you have to use the plants. You have to grow not just one variety, but all kinds of things you can grow, and that's what you want to do. You want to have onions are very good. Massive amounts of different kinds of onions that they are not going to like. There's lots of things that, and the herbs are one of the easiest because the herbs are chemicals. Everything's a chemical, but these happens to be like lavender, eucalyptus. No, eucalyptus is a tree, but you have spearmint. Today I bought some. They're all different kinds, and these should make a tea because the tea has that chemical in it that you have. They also have. So one of the things you use, and I've been using really lately. So I have black tea and green tea. They have caffeine in them, right?
Yes.
So you can make a tea and spray with that. That's why I use cold brew coffee, because that's a strong source. You have to cage your bulbs in order to keep those little creatures from eating them. Yeah,
and that's one that we were talking about, the fence around the whole garden, and this is like individual bulbs, whether it's a flower bulb or anything like that. That's another method that you can use to protect them until everything's good.
Here's what I would do. So there are bulbs that they're going to go after. Plant some bulbs with them. Plant a garlic bulb all along They have to figure out, well, that's garlic, I'll eat that. And they won't do that, because if you plant it next to it, they'll have the same garlic in their little bodies, and they won't get eaten up. The other way, besides planting, is you actually spray with the garlic or spray with the coffee, because those things are systemic. They're absorbed by the plant, and then when the creature comes and eats the plant, the bulb, most bulbs. And I think that's interesting too, that you brought the bulbs up, because most of them are toxic. So I was curious what kind of bulbs are getting eaten up by the creatures, because these bulbs are not people friendly. They're not animal friendly. They don't eat narcissus. They don't eat tulips. So I wonder what kind of bulbs are edible, other than even garlic is kind of hard for them to eat, or onion to eat, because these are bulbs. So you have to. It was silly that they say, "Okay, silly, what bulbs are you talking about? Come on, spit out the name of the bulb. I like to know what bulb you have to put in cages, because they're not going to get eaten." That's why one of the things I tell people: plant them as a barrier all around the outside. Paper white narcissus, for example, all the narcissus family, all the tulip family. Paper white are easier to grow because they'll come up every year more and more and more. Other bulbs, you have to take care and put them in the. If you live in the right environment, where it gets cold. If you live over here, they won't survive. You just have to take them out, put them in the refrigerator, and then plant them again. Right? Paper white narcissus grow like crazy. Tulips, crocus. Well, those things are toxic, silly. Have you had gophers eating those things? Because those things are toxic. Unless you have some super duper Superman gopher kind of thing, or some squirrel that's like, I'm gonna, or maybe how do you know they didn't eat it and go off and die? Because they are toxic. Those tulips and crocus and lilies are toxic. You try to nibble on one of those, you'll see that you can't. And so anyway, that's one of the things you would do. That's why I like cold brew coffee, because caffeine is very, very good for keeping animals from eating your plants. You just have to decide, okay, what do you like better, garlic, or do you like coffee? Which is a better smell for you? You just have to decide that. And you can do this and following the same principle. Any of the herbs, well, they rodents, squirrels, and chipmunks are a slightly different different level. But I bet you they evolved to be able to eat almost anything.
Well, especially up here in Alberta, Canada, where the food sources in the spring are very limited because it's been under 6 feet of snow for 6 months.
And then you still don't know if a rodent came and ate it and went off someplace and died.
Yeah.
Because remember, these things are toxic, and that's usually what happens. So what happens a lot of time when you feed a rodent or squirrels a poison, they go off and die somewhere, and some other animal comes and gets them. See? So this is kind of like the same thing, because I'm pretty sure if you ask for AI, you'll find that these things are toxic to them. And so they may eat it or nibble. They don't stick around for, they don't last for too long. They'll go off and die because it's a toxin that gets released in their body. But so what I would say is learn to have as much biology as possible. I would make a mixture of all that and spray with it, soak your plants with it. If something's getting eaten, spray it with a garlic, spray it with a cold brew coffee. Very easy to make. Spray it with your compost tea, right? So and they will not follow through and eat it. They would have to be so hungry. I'm going to eat it anyway. I don't know. Let me add it. I'm almost there. Right?
Well, Lily's saying there are several types of flower bulbs that are considered delicacies to critters like squirrels, chipmunks, voles, deer.
You don't know what type. I'm sure there must be lots of. Well, wait a minute. So there are different flowers that are totally edible. Yeah, there are, and they have little bulbs. So those things are edible. They're not the kind of bulbs I was thinking about. These are totally edible that you can eat. For example, I do sunchokes. That's a bulb. They look like sunflowers. There's turmeric. There's ginger. They're all kind of thing structure. So maybe that's. And the onions are like little bulbs. There's lots of different kinds of onion family that you can eat. Garlics are bulbs. So there are lots of different kind of bulbs that are edible. But when I think of, I was thinking more along the lines of the big guys like tulips and those things. Paper white narcissus are completely toxic. You use that as a barrier, a barrier to control. Red dahlia bulbs are wonderful to eat. I've never eaten a red dahlia.
Yeah, neither have I. I don't get into that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, experiment. I would if I was younger, just to see how high I would get. Oh, look, the red dahlia. You eat a little bit of that, and you start talking to the trees. Oh, yeah. So
Well,
Um,
it's not so bad talking into the tree, but when the tree is talking back to you, that's when people think you have a major problem.
Today I was out doing my thing, and this tree. Where have you been? I haven't seen you because I missed a month, and I know every month. I said, I'm sorry. I was hugging the tree and everything. And Jacob would tell you, hey Jacob, you still around? Because he went with me today, and he saw me hugging the tree, and I was talking to all these other trees. I said, where have you been? Yeah,
He's
tell
saying laugh out loud at you, Andy, okay?
Jacob, did you or did you not see me hugging the tree? Come on, tell the truth. Don't have to lie. It's okay. Come on, you can.
Well,
You can
he's answering. Let's look at this question. What are your thoughts on preventing pocket gophers from eating tree roots?
okay, plant garlic on the base of the tree so the tree absorbs the garlic. The garlic will be absorbed by the whole tree, so the tree will not eat the roots or any part of the tree. You can also soak the area around. You can make a tea out of garlic. Get a whole bunch of cloves of garlic, make a strong mixture, brew, soak it, and then pour it around the base of the tree. That will
Yeah,
immediately repel them. But what you have to understand is that the tree is deficient in certain trace minerals. So that's why these guys are eating them. They're not going to eat them if they're healthy. So you have to say to yourself, what am I doing to the trees to make it healthy? If I'm doing nothing, then there's your problem. You need to
yeah,
do something. And then what you do is two things. One, you want to feed the tree, foliar feed it, spray the leaves, spray everything. And one of the things about garlic, it has iron, lots of minerals in it. Granny Smith's molasses, coffee cream, and sugar is a perfect mixture to spray your trees with, and the milk, right? Coffee milk and sugar will be molasses because what you're giving them is you're giving them food. They need trace minerals. That is the fastest way to get into it. But real problem is not in the soil. Your soil it's probably doesn't have any worms in it. I bet you don't have any earthworms in there. If you did, you wouldn't be having the problem. So you want to protect the tree from getting eaten by making it taste funny. So the garlic is the easiest and fastest way to get into it's systemic into a tree because they'll taste the garlic and they'll go, that. That's the name of a movie, Taste the Garlic. It's
and
same result.
Jacob said, and the horse, you're
Yeah.
hugging the horse too.
No, I
So
wasn't hugging
yeah,
the horse. I talked to the horse and we're friends and we've followed me around. Uh, there's a couple of them there. I said, hey, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. I said, well, I've been busy. I talk to all the animals. I have a relationship with the owls and the hawks here. The first month I was here, the owl sits on the fence and it says, my kid. Actually, what happened was I looked up at a tree. There's a, hey, daddy, I want to eat that cat. The owl flies down, sits on the fence, and says, "We heard my kid. He wants to eat the cat." So,
well, speaking of kids, Jacob's mom's on as well. So Jacob wanted to say hi, mom.
oh really?
Yeah, uh,
Jacob's mom?
yeah, Laurel.
Is that her? Hi, mom.
Now
That's
let's
cool.
go. City Poor Girl wanted to point out that gopher spurge plants work really well to keep
Yeah,
gophers away. Now I've never actually heard of a
yeah.
gopher spurge plant.
It's
What the
called
heck
gopher
is
purge.
that?
It's not spurge. It's called gopher purge. The
Oh, gopher
problem with gopher
purge.
purge
Okay.
was the fire-prone area. That oil that burst into flames. So we had a lot of gopher purge growing around, and people had gopher purge. Push burst into flames. So I'm tending not to recommend that because you don't want anything that bursts into flames not around you
Yeah.
because it's an oil. The oil bursts into flame, but it does. It has the same white oil that these bulbs have that we talk about that they can't eat because it's toxic.
Yeah.
They're so toxic that if a kid was to eat it, like paper white narcissus, you have to be careful. I don't recommend if you have children because if a child will eat it, it will numb your throat and your ability to swallow and breathe.
Yeah.
That's how
Well,
toxic.
let's do one last point here before, because we're at the hour now. But Lily was saying a friend of mine lost a bunch of mayflowers. She saved the last few by planting garlic at the front of them, just like Andy suggested. It's too
Correct.
bad she hadn't known. She could have saved more.
Of course, garlic is wonderful, and there's like thousands of varieties of garlic,
Yeah.
thousands of them, literally. And they should. I just bought this one garlic called walking garlic. The thing, it puts out a garlic, and then one of the leaves, one of the stems bends
Isn't
down.
that typically an Italian walking garlic? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Not garlic; it's a walking onion.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It produces the bulb, the little tips of the bulbs, and it bends over and it touches the ground. It cuts itself up and it has more onions, and then it spreads
Oh,
out.
cool.
Yeah, so you want to learn to plant things. That's what companion planting is all about. Planting something that produces this chemical interchange with the plant that protects the plant. One of the ways I plant, I protect tomatoes. I take a potato, cut a hole, and put the tomato in it, plant it, because it keeps the caterpillars from attacking the tomatoes. Just a potato. I call it a pomato.
Anyway, guys, we're at the end. Serena, sorry I missed your last question there. I didn't catch it in time. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Remember to, subscribe to the different channels, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, the YouTube channels. As for our channel, it's all about the biology channel. Tomorrow, first thing, we have the true value of chiropractic care, why price isn't the whole story. That's on tomorrow. On Sunday, we have Dr. Paula Ruffin coming on doing another live stream as well. Then on Monday, we have a bunch of guys coming from the biocharcoalition.org coming on to talk with Leighton Morrison. So that'll be another fantastic show. But other than that, guys, what kind of bulb does not grow flowers? A light bulb. I have one above my head, man. That's my light bulb. I try to keep it on all the time.
See you next week, guys.
All right, guys. We love y'all.